Before we get started, let's check out
The Wheel of Source Code.
the making of 30 Minutes of UMoria.
Hi there. This is a note about the production of this podcast. As you know, I have 3 cameras. One that was this one, one that was the keyboard camera, and one that was over there that showed side view from farther away. So that's the cameras that were involved. Also, I was recording the screen, so that's 4 video sources for each podcast. So what I was doing was I would start the game, I would start the screen record, and before that I would start all of the cameras. I'd sit down and I would do the whole thing, and then I would shut them all off after 30 minutes was done or so. And then I would save them all to disk. And I needed to buy more disk space for all of these videos. Instead of doing post-production one at a time, I've decided to do post-production for 138 shows in a row, which makes it very difficult and time-consuming. So anyway, I would save all the data, including all the saved game files per turn of the game. And then I would, I would charge all the camera batteries again. So there is that aspect of it. So filming took maybe 2 or 3 weeks tops. So it went pretty fast, really. And the slow part is the post-production, which is what the next note will be about. Later on in production, I developed more lighting techniques. I would turn on this light, depending on the time of day. And I had another light down here that I took the shade off of just to get more light. It can be tough to light properly, and I don't have the right lighting equipment anyway. So what else can I say? This is a snooker going on behind me, the Masters. So that means it's actually January. So I did filming in end of March, and now it's January. So we've done a lot of post production, and that's what the next video is going to be about. So I think I don't have much else to say about production, about how it went, how we did that. I had a little timer that said running on the computer that said when 30 minutes was up. I thought it was when 25 minutes was up, but it turned out it was when 30 minutes was up, which probably explains why the cameras would always run out of battery on me. So there's that. So in the recorded video, I'm like, 25 minutes has passed, but it's actually been 30 minutes, so there's no fixing that. So what else can I say? I modified the Moria binaries to actually save a game per turn, or roundabout a turn. I didn't save a turn every time I slept. I didn't save a turn every time I ran. But if I walked, or hit, or got hit, that kind of thing, a game was saved. So that means there's many megabytes there. But by far, the terabytes involved were these camera videos. So yeah, and that's a lot of data. Charging stuff, had to buy the hard drives. Oh yeah, I had a little camera stand, so sometimes the camera stand wasn't placed exactly the same, or sometimes I wasn't quite sitting in the same place, so the keyboard was off. The keyboard is just a bad idea. I mean, it's upside down. What was I thinking? I should have used another head cam or something just to keep it different. So, you know, these things are, what do you do? What do you do? Yeah, there's always other decisions you'd make after the fact. So anyway, that is production. And the next video will be about post-production. So, post-production means I have all the videos saved, and I'm now trying to make it presentable into a podcast. This is more difficult than it sounds, because Moria just is not that interesting to watch someone play. It isn't. So I'm trying to go above and beyond to make this podcast somehow entertaining. To do so, I've used all the video sources to and layered them in some cases. Like the main screen is the background that you see with the three different camera angles on the left, that kind of thing. And all that takes crunching of computers to turn that into a single video source instead of 4 video sources. And a lot of time is taken to actually sync up those videos, because these are not professional cameras with time streams stuck in them, really. So I had to actually, frame by frame for all the episodes, had to line up when the start of each video occurs so that they're all happening at the same time. And hopefully you can't tell the difference on anything. I spent a long time on that. So yeah, 138 episodes, and I'm trying to go through them all. Let's see, I also did different layering techniques of the head, of like the head camera, they call it the head, on the various parts of the screen. So I did some of that. What else? I did the introduction. The introduction was fun. I have that first little, very short introduction is the same. That chung 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 ding. That is the same. And then I have a particular introduction that is for the episode. So I had to do 138 of those. And there's a little animation. I had to make the animation. I had to draw all of that. And it's so short, but it's time consuming. The bestiary video, which is, this episode was brought to you by the letter L, which is the giant louse, and here's what it can do. That's that video. So right now, all my computers are doing stat videos, statistic videos, and there's many different statistics I've chosen to do. One is just the first one I did was what turn it is. What turn are we on? And sometimes you'll see the video cut away and you'll say, it's turn number 4082, which would be very early in the game. And so on. Another fun one was, how many dragons have I killed today? And for the majority of the game, it says 0. But you kill your first dragon, it goes 1. You kill your second, it goes 2, as you play. So hopefully this will make it a little bit more interesting. I have a mana graph for the session. So your mana goes down when you cast the spell, and it pops back up when you rest. And on that same graph is the hit points. If you've seen the shows, then you've seen all this. You see the hit points that go up and down as you get hit, and go back up as you rest. So there's that. Hopefully that's interesting. I hope so. There's a lot of other stats as well, like some stats endure for the whole game. Like I did a maximum hit points and maximum mana that you can see never goes down unless I lose a level somewhere. But it's not going up and down like the current hit points and current mana. It's your maximum, so it kind of goes up when you level up. And it goes up and up and up. And that goes for the whole game. So it's meant to show a kind of progression for the whole game. So some of the stats are per session, 35 minutes or so. And some of them are per game, which is since the beginning of the character, which isn't the beginning of the podcast necessarily. And so I have these different graphs, maybe 15 of them. I can't think of all of them right now. One of them is number of visits to stores. One of them is of all the attributes of the strength and the intelligence and the whatever, constitution, and you know them. They go up and down. I think for the session and for the game, which is interesting. So these stats are meant to be in the VH1 pop-up video, what's the word, motif. And although there's no sound going boom and text, it's at least something that can make it more interesting. I hope. So there's that. I wrote software to make these frames of videos. I turn it into a video, and then I put it on top of another video that shows the screen capture, and I time sync it so that when you kill the dragon for the first time, the dragon counter goes 1 at that moment. And all of this takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of source code, a lot of scripting, and I use a lot of GStreamer pipelines. What else? I write little programs that load up a save game, a Moria save game, figure out how many gold pieces I have, and I write that out. And then I use another script to say 45 gold pieces and write it on a white background with the title saying number of gold pieces. And I do that for every frame of the game, and there's a lot of them. So then I use FFmpeg to turn it into a video, which takes a while. And then I use GStreamer to put it on top of other video with the video wall. And this takes a lot of time because there's, like I said, 138 episodes and 15 different stats. And lastly, I've been doing audio cleanup in Audacity, where I take each one of the audio tracks and try to reduce the noise level because there's a lot of noise in this environment. Hopefully I'm not taking away too much signal and just getting rid of the noise. But I'm not much of an audiophile. Other people might complain about the audio. I hope not. But I just hope people watch this, really. What else can I say? Post-production, it's going. I ended filming in March, and now it's mid-January. So it's been many, 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 many months of doing this. I bought a whole computer to help me crunch video frames. So, yeah, I have 3 computers running all day, every day. And they're starting to get slow because the data is just going up and up and up. So, post-production, what else can I say? Oh yeah, I wrote an animator program to do those animations at the start and the animations at the end. So that's a whole C program used to actually play and create these animations. Wow, the sun is getting bright. Yikes. It's like I have good lighting all of a sudden. So, yeah, I did that. I wrote just millions of little tiny scripts to do millions of little things. So I could not have done this video podcast without writing a lot of software. There's no single program that I could use to do all this, that's for sure. So I hope you like it, and I hope post-production continues on as it has been. What can I say? There's a couple things I want to mention off the top about what I've created, not how I've created it, with regards to this podcast. One thing that I didn't mention in the introduction was that I also made these TypeScript recordings of each Moria game. These TypeScripts are created with the script command, if you're familiar with that on Unix or Linux. Yeah, so the idea there was to have another kind of recording of this winning game that I wanted to make. So those came in handy a couple times because I forgot to do the screen record. So the screen record, I have to hit the 3 Control-Alt-Shift-R to start the screen record. So I was stuck. I was like, what do I do? How do I fill this gap? Because I have to have the screen. So what I did was I replayed back using script replay the Moria session. So that's why sometimes things might be out of sync or something like that. I also saved the input. So every key that was pressed got put into a file. And on those games where I replay the script because I didn't record the screen, I made a program to show the keystrokes as they happened. So that might be out of sync as well. by a little bit. So what do you do? But I just wanted to record all of the information, or as much as I could, during the Moria playing. Well, that was one thing. The other thing was sometimes the video was blurry. Oh boy. Just because I don't have camera operators, it's just me. And what I do is I put my hands in front of the camera like that to start it. And if I had like a sleeve or something that would go in front of the iris there, then all of a sudden it would focus on that. And then I'd take it away and I'd be blurry for the whole podcast. And I have no way of seeing that because the camera doesn't show me that until after. And afterwards it's too late. So what do? I guess I could have started it, gotten up, looked at the back, kind of squinted at it to see if it looked sharp. Anyway. So that's a problem in post-production. It's kind of important to have this headshot work. So anyway, one of the things I want to do is I want to take those blurry videos and I want to run them through a sharpener, a video sharpener. Now, it doesn't really exist. There's no program I can find that just says, hey, sharpen this. Here are some parameters, tweak them. What I can find is ways to sharpen an image. And the GIMP does that very, very well. So just today, I figured out what settings look good, and I figured out which videos were blurry. And what I want to do is I want to run each frame of the video through the GIMP. Now, so that's where I figure out what plugin to use, the Unsharpen Mask tool, and I plug in all the values and I run them through all of it. And then I need to re-put that video on top of screencast and do all that stuff too. So it's a lot of work. It's still to come, but that's what I want to do. Now, I've done that GIMP filter thing a lot in this. I haven't mentioned it yet, but I did it just at the very start. That zoomed in Moria screen that you see, where there's just a video in the top left of my head, that was done with a screen, with a resize in the GIMP for every frame. That took a very long time. And then I also took a cut and a paste of the keystrokes and put that there too. So the GIMP lets you do this stuff, but boy oh boy do you pay with time. Wow, that takes a long time. So I guess that's the second thing I wanted to mention, the blurry video stuff. I talked about noise reduction in audio, and I was hoping that the audio was going to be okay. Well, I got some advice on that, and the advice was to normalize and compress all of the audio. And that's just audio podcast advice. So compress doesn't mean like compress in terms of file size. Compress is like an audio term for, I don't even know what it does. I'm not enough an audiophile to know. I know what it does though. I don't know how it does it. It takes the quiet parts and makes them louder. It takes the louder parts and makes them quieter. So you get this more uniform voice volume. And you normalize it and that just makes it larger. Okay. That took a long time because I had to do all 138 episodes, of course. But then there's all these other little parts of the audio that weren't loud enough compared to this new audio. So I had to go back to all of the audio that I've done and modify it so that it's louder and it's compressed. It sounds the same. So that's a uniformity thing. By the way, it's I didn't say what the date was. It's early mid-March. Behind me on the screen there. Yeah, they're doing Vatican choosing a new pope to see who wears the big hat. So that's what time of year it is. I'm wearing the same thing as the earlier note, just for consistency. Okay. what else did I create? I created 138 different Wheel of Source Code segments. That was fun. I thought it might have been overkill to do this. Like, who really cares, right? But it comes from the place of, wouldn't it be nice if more people knew about the source code? Wouldn't it be nice to have just a tiny, tiny introduction to it? So if you're not even paying attention and you just hear the words, then that's something. And it might even be kind of entertaining. But it's probably the least entertaining aspect of the podcast. Maybe. Unless you're a programmer, I don't know. So what did I do there? Well, I used a program called FreeVile. FreeVile. It is a trivia program. And what it does is it asks you questions and you try to answer them with multiple choice. So what I did was I made a script that got all the functions out of UMoria. And then I made them all categories, trivia categories. And that's what that spinning wheel is. That's just spinning the wheel to see which category we pick. But it can only do 6 at a time. So what I do is I randomly select 6 from the pool. And I put them on the wheel and I spin it and then I pick one of the random 6. I wish it could have done like 100. That would have been more interesting. So, so that's where that animation thing comes from. What else can I say about that? And then the next screen is it's in FreeVile, it's the answers. So you pick which one. Which answer you think the question is, the answer for the question. But there's no question either. So what I did, I just put just information about the function. And I took away the ABC. Don't need to see that. What else? So that's about it for the Wheel of Source Code. That took a while. As I was saying, I fell off the post-production for a while because it just seemed like so much work. And that was in the middle of the Wheel of Source Code segments. I was like, oh no, how am I ever going to get through all these? So I really worked hard to get all of those Wheel of Source Codes done. That was tough. So, what else have I done? The bestiary, however you say it. There's that lace that kind of flips. It goes. That was a fun little project. I found that on archive.org, a very, very old, I think it was 1700s or 1600s, a book of lace patterns. And I cleaned it up for a few days, trying to take out all the noise and just make it look just right. And some of them were damaged because they're damaged in the book. So what I tried to do is fill them out and mirror things and copy things to make it look cool. And in each one of those videos where it flips, it's actually random. It picks from a bunch of them and it puts them in random order and it stops on whichever one it stops on. So that looks different every episode. So it's just a tiny little neat quality thing to add to the quality of the podcast. I don't know how much it really does, but it's certainly interesting to look at. I'll give it that. Yeah, I guess the one thing more I'd add is the audio fixing up. So I did the noise reduction, like I said in the first one, and this time I did more normalization and compression. But I also did click removal. This chair is very noisy. It's not that noisy now, but it's very noisy. And wow, that really messed up the audio, especially when I would lean back to say hello to the other camera. It's really not good. And the clicking of the keys doesn't help either. So that click removal might have taken away some of the clicking of the keyboard. So that's a bit concerning in the keyboard camera view that you see here that's upside down keyboard. I might be hitting keys where you don't really hear it. So that might be a bit strange. But on the whole, I really hope the audio turned out listenable to people who care about audio. Excuse me, to people who care about audio. One thing that I can't fix is that it was all recorded in mono. I know, mono. So nothing I can do about that, except try to clean up the audio the best I can. That's what I try.
Hey folks, I've begun the large task of rendering all of the video files. PTV has kind of moved along in its ability to handle large files. So yeah, PTV seems to be working okay. At this point I've rendered 3 episodes. There are 130 something total. So it's a long process, but after using the newest version, which is 093, I think. It's going okay. It just takes a while. I'm uploading to archive.org, so that will be good. Maybe I'll upload to YouTube too, I don't know. I spent a lot of time with the new GStreamer library called GES, GStreamer Editing Services. And I wrote a program to dump out all the frames from a PTV project, which worked. And then I wrote another program using the same services to write out just the audio. And I thought I was getting around the bugs in PTV with respect to rendering. Well, rendering large files. It didn't work. I spent a lot of time on that, but, it didn't work. So it was just a dead end. So what I do is I actually cut up each episode into chunks. So 2 chunks for a 40-minute show. And then I concatenate them with an FFmpeg command, which seems to work okay. But you never know when I'm going to max out in memory or something and the thing just blows up. So it takes a while to do this this rendering of episodes. I haven't really used in the first 3 or 4 episodes, I have not used the stat videos very much. In hindsight, I probably should have had like myself talking video somewhere on there, because it's a little bit disorienting to flip away to a screen where somebody's talking, but it's like just a disembodied voice talking. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah, I have a hard time working in these stat videos, like how many monsters you killed, how many objects you pick up, when the person on screen, me, is like talking over it about something unrelated. So I don't know how much I'll use it. In the later videos, I probably do a lot less talking so than in the earlier videos. So I can probably sneak them in there, I would guess. What else? It takes a long time to upload each episode because the upload rates here are just so bad. What else? Can't think of much. Oh, the credits. I redid the credits. At one point I thought I was going to use KDN Live to help out with some video editing, and I'm not. PTV can do it. So, but I changed the credits to say that KDN Live was used, but it's not used, so I don't know if I really want to change the credits. I've already put up the one episode that has it in it, so yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, yeah, I'll just try to keep doing 1 or 2 of these a day and be done in a couple months, which is a lot, and that's if I keep it up. It's been a couple of years now since I did this, since I filmed, so I probably look older, no doubt. But yeah, I just said, I don't want to do that. But now I'm at the point where, hey, I think it looks all right. You know, it's worth finishing. You know, So yeah, I'm enjoying editing this video, and it's kind of fun because it's so far I don't remember it anymore. You know, it's actually kind of entertaining. So yeah, that's it. That's it for this update.